So my name is Ammar Al-Sabban. I'm from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and I do edutainment content creation. I know it sounds made up, but it's real. I do go to work every day, and I turn imagination into reality in a lot of different forms. And I love that about my job. And that's one of the reasons why I love going to theme parks. Anybody likes to go theme parks? Okay, good. I used to like all the rides, except roller coasters. They really scare me. They freak me out. They're too high. I'm scared of heights. But everybody else does it. Every time we go in a group, everybody wants to go to the roller coaster. And I'm the only one who's like 6'3" kid who can't really just get on there. Until one day I summed up the courage and said, you know what? I have to do this. And I went to the ride, and we wait for an hour. You sit, starts moving. You're really excited until it starts going upwards. And then it goes tick, 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 tick. And for some reason, I heard Morgan Freeman's voice in my head going, it's at that moment when he realized that he made a mistake. And now I'm really scared. I'm really nervous. It's just like what I'm feeling right now. I might look calm and good-looking on the outside, but I'm really a mess on the inside. And I thought to myself, you know what? This is a great opportunity. Yes, I'm scared sometimes to talk in front of people. I'm scared of roller coasters, but these things, sometimes you think about it, it's like, you know what? You only live once, right? Or if you're under 20, it's like YOLO or something. And they say life is short, so you go and do these things. And I thought about that, and it's like, is really life that short? I mean, the average lifespan, give or take, of a human is 26,000 days. 26,000 is a lot. It's not something, you know, it's not short by any means. And in 2013, I was on day 12,500. And I realized that there's a lot in my life that I didn't do. And that really concerned me. I mean, I had everything I wanted, or I thought I needed. I got an education, a bachelor's degree in architecture. I got a great job that I worked at 12 years as a design architect. Last job was here at KAUST. I have an amazing wife who's a chemist, a scientist, and 3 beautiful children. But I was like dead inside. I felt like I wasn't complete. There was a lot of potential. I know I have a lot of potential, but I wasn't meeting any of it. I was just going through the motions every day. And I thought to myself, like on day 25,999, if I look back at my life, what would I see? And would I be happy with what I saw? And sadly, the answer was no, I wasn't. And I felt like life was going by, half my life has gone, and I didn't really do anything. And I felt like it wasn't me. It wasn't me living this life. I was living somebody else's life. And that was my driving force at the time. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. It's what I want to accomplish by the day 26,000. And I was determined to change. And I was determined to do what I want with my life. But there was only one problem. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, which is a lot of people go through this. And what I wanted to do was something that really I never discovered, because all my life I was trying to be the someone that everybody told me to be and to want the things that everybody told me to want. And the only thing that was stopping me was my own limitations. And I felt like I can't accomplish anything. I have a lot of potential. I have a lot of great ideas. But 2 things really stood in my way. The first one was fear. Fear of failure. Fear of getting hurt. Fear of embarrassment, which I have right now. James Burns once said, too many people are thinking of security instead of opportunity. And they seem to be more afraid of life than death. And that was true. And the other thing that was holding me back was traditions. I felt like I had to be like everybody else, because that's what they tell you. This is how everybody does it. This is how everybody succeeds. So that was what I felt like I needed to do. And tradition, by definition, is an inherited, established pattern of thoughts and behaviors. And that's what I was doing. It wasn't like my thoughts. It wasn't my ideas. It was somebody else's. And it forced me to live a life, a professional life, that I really never wanted to be a part of, but I thought I did. And that was my main problem, and I needed to fix it. So I started to look for a place to start really making that shift. And I read a quote by Walt Disney that said, "Our greatest natural resource is in the minds of our children." And I thought, I was a kid once, and I had dreams, and I had aspirations. I'll go there. And I thought back to when I was a kid. The first image I got in my head was me, 5 years old, sitting in front of like a huge wooden TV that was like a piece of furniture back in the 70s, not like frames on the walls right now. And I was always watching cartoons and watching like shows like Sesame Street and The Muppet Show and Bugs Bunny. And I really thought that I really wanted to be part of that world at the time. And my only issue was that piece of glass in front of me. If I can just break that open, maybe I can jump in and be with my friends. And thank God I didn't try that, because you can't imagine how disappointed I was when I discovered how TVs work and that there's nothing inside. But I really wanted to grow up to be a cartoon character or a puppet. And even though that sounds silly, I took it seriously. And I started thinking about, okay, what else did I like? What are my passions? And we can discover our passions through our actions. So I started recollecting, what did I like to do as a young boy? And we learned by trial and error. So I started going through these and through the things that I used to do. And I found out 5 things that I used to always do and always get in trouble for doing for some reason. The first one was scribbling, sketching, and doodling. All my textbooks had all sorts of sketches and drawings. If there was a picture, I'll change somebody's clothes on the picture. I'll give them a new hairdo, give them mustaches, men or women. I don't discriminate. Everybody get a mustache. And the second thing, I used to always daydream. In class, I have no idea what the teacher is talking about. At home, at the dinner table, I'm always thinking about different ideas and adventures. My mom, in her endless efforts to make me study, she takes all the distractions out from the room and leaves me with my books, come back after half an hour, finds me playing with my fingers like each one is a character, and I'm thinking of like they're talking with each other and going on adventure, and it drove her bananas. The third thing I did was watch television. If television is on, I'm focusing on that screen. The world can burn around me. I would care less because TV is on. Fourth thing was I like to joke around, tell jokes, make people laugh, act silly, which sometimes is inappropriate, sometimes is disrespectful, but I love the laughs. And I used to say all sorts of silly jokes, like what did the fish say when it swam into the wall? Damn! Do you get it? No? Swim? Damn? Okay. The fifth thing was that I like to look at things in a different way. And I like to argue a different point of view. Like, why is north up and south down? Like, in the globe, there's no up and down in space. There's no left and right. So why do we see the globe this way, not that way? Which really goes nowhere, but I just like to discuss these. And it drove my brothers crazy, which were right there. And I was constantly told not to do these things, and sometimes I was punished for doing them. But I thought, you know what, if I can just try doing these things, maybe I'll find what it is that I like to do. So I did, and I took doodling and sketching into design. I started designing logos for myself, for my friends. Soon enough, people started to commission me to actually design some logos for them and t-shirts and stuff. Got to where a friend of mine started a graphic design business, started to do logos and corporate identities for different companies. All the daydreaming I had and the ideas turned that into writing and creative writing. Started writing shows, started coming up with characters and stuff. Then I need to apply that, so I used everything I loved about television. First thing I had was puppetry. Bought a few puppets, started writing scripts for them, shoots a few videos, didn't work. Applied for the Arabic Sesame Street show in Abu Dhabi to work as a puppeteer, didn't get the job. So I learned how to build a puppet, built my first puppet, started writing for it, put it on a show on YouTube. It works. 3 years later, they see what I did, and then they hired me, and I've been working there doing all sorts of characters, Cookie Monster, Grover, and everything. So that really got me into television. Like whatever I had that I wanted to do and just jump into the screen, I actually did. And all the jokes that I used to do and silly and laughing and acting silly, I took that into my characters. So So I started writing comedy bits, comedy routines, went to the comedy club in Jeddah, worked with stand-up comedians. And all the talking that I used to do and arguing with everybody, I got with a friend of mine who had some mics, I had a recorder, we did a website, and we started our own podcast back in 2015. 4 years later, we have hundreds of thousands of listens. We're one of the leading podcast networks in the region for Arabic podcasts. So everything everybody told me not to do, turns out, hey, I can make a living out of this. And it actually worked. Bishop T.D. Jakes says, if you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion. For your passion will lead you right into your purpose. And that was true for me. That's exactly what happened. I explored my passions, and I figured out a way to give myself more time to explore them. And that's what I did back in 2013. I left my job and started to explore each and every one of my passions to really find myself and find what it is that I wanted to do. And through that, I discovered what my purpose is. And my purpose is to spread joy and knowledge to my community, hence creating edutainment content. And I've been doing that for the past 6 years. And when I look at my life right now, I actually see myself. And it's really funny that it's something I realized the other day is 6 years ago, I was just one character with one voice, and I did not know who I am. And today, I play like over 10 characters with 10 different voices, and I'm more me than I ever was. So that's what, when you discover your passion, it's really you. It really gets you to know who you are as a person. And just like that roller coaster at the beginning that I was really scared to get on, it was one of the best things that I ever did. And once you let yourself go, open your eyes, not tension up, and just enjoy the ride, it's going to be the best ride of your life. And the scariest ride turned into the most fun. And once you conquer it, you feel like really you can conquer anything. That's one of the main things that I want you to get out of this talk today is like, if you just think back to when you were like 5 years old and looking back at that child that you were, looking at you right now, do you feel like that child would be proud, would be happy with what you've accomplished so far? That was my benchmark. And if the answer is yes, congratulations, you found your purpose. And if the answer is no, like it was with me, I felt like I should give my dreams a shot. And I did. And the last 2,000 days of my life were the most productive, were the most joyful, and I accomplished the most in like 14,700 days that I've been alive in the last just 2,000. In other words, my driving force today is to have no regrets on day 26,000. Thank you very much.